A warm welcome to the PlayPan Podcast. Podcast for good, fostering a culture of giving, one story at a time. I'm Kenneth Chu, your host for this journey. We'll be diving into the heartening stories that underscore how PlayPan cultivates a culture of giving. Together, we are redefining how we give back to society, making a difference through the power of play. Hi, Grace. Welcome to PlayPan Podcast, and thank you for making time to share with us what's your insight, what's your story. So maybe you can do a short introduction about yourself, where are you from, and currently what you're doing, and how do you get yourself involved with PlayPan?
Okay, thank you. My name is Grace, and I'm from OneSight EssilorLuxottica Foundation. In there, we do a lot of philanthropy programs to help underprivileged people see more and be more. So basically helping them give good vision and give them glasses for people who need it the most. How we got involved in PlayPan? Not really much of a choice, but very happy to support because Yvonne is also from the foundation. So we are kind of like partners in crime. So wherever she go, I'm there as well. But I really strongly believe in the vision behind PlayPan and also strongly believe in Yvonne as a leader. Yeah,
when we talk about Yvonne, right, because Yvonne is your...
my boss. But I also see her as a very big mentor in my life. And I think there have been so many things I've learned from her over the last few years. Yeah.
So maybe you want to be more curious, like what were you before Essilor?
Before the foundation, I was actually in a public relations company for about 2 years or so. And I think it was one of the most interesting and also trying experiences because it was also my first job.
Oh,
Yeah.
So after your first job, then you move into...
Yeah, then I took a break and then I didn't know what I wanted to do next actually. But just nice, my predecessor then, which was one of my friends, said that she had an opening and she asked whether I wanted to do it. And to be honest, I had no idea what I was in for. So when I went for the interview, I was just like, okay, let's do it. And then in the end, I think within that first week of work, I flew to the Philippines for charity work.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think only through that weekend, I understand what I was putting myself inside.
Well, what were you in for, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So from there, it's like totally different industry.
Totally
so how
different.
So how do you see the similarity, or do you find that kind of balance, or what is it different, or is it similar?
I think for me, a very big part of my life is caring for people and community around me. And I think when I was in the public relations agency, I really wanted to serve the community in kind of like a behind the scenes role, doing PR for companies to be able to benefit the greater community. But I think when I came to this role, even though I wasn't very sure what I was in for, but that weekend when I did the charity event, it was really so much more than I could imagine. Because I was actually serving the community directly, looking into people's eyes, giving them glasses and helping them, which is so much direct impact that I could never imagine. So I think in both jobs, there are definitely the similarities of really serving the community, which is, I feel, a very big part of my life's purpose.
Yeah, because when you say talk about PR, right, public relation, right, so a lot of time you need to put yourself out there, you need to tell people what you do, the messaging and all that. I think in the non-profit or even the foundation, it's also important for you to pass a message out. Like you were saying before we started, right, you see a lot of people do not know what does your foundation really do. So just to give classes. So maybe you can touch more on that, on what exactly does your foundation really talk about, do about, and what are the things that people are missing.
So I think the foundation, we are kind of like the charity arm of EssilorLuxottica Group. It's a huge MNC that produces lenses and frames at the same time and equipping so many people in the world. But I think the foundation's existence is really to help all the people in the world with uncorrected poor vision. So that's actually about 2.7 billion people in the world still uncorrected, and they have poor vision, and they might not even know they have poor vision. So I think that's really why we do what we do. And I think, of course, apart from giving glasses and checking their eyes, there are so much more conversations that have to be made with important stakeholders in the world to understand how vision is such a such a basic human right, you know, like good vision. Yeah, and from such a young age, people should be equipped with that. That human right, you know, to be able to see well, do well, and live well. Yeah.
Yeah, because I see that a lot of involvement with kids, children. So is there a specific age group that you guys will be serving, or even to correct, or even to do the eye check? You guys do eye check for them, right?
Yes. So I think for beneficiaries, we actually work with a huge range of them, from kids all the way to seniors. Even special ones like special needs or intellectually disabled, or even single moms, migrant workers. There are so many that gaps in society that we would love to help. And I think, especially for children, even in Singapore, myopia is really high, and being able to identify that at an early stage is very important for their future. So I think beneficiaries range a whole lot. But I think for the foundation, we always try to help gaps in society that people have not helped yet or are very hard to reach. So for example, an intellectually disabled kid, sometimes it takes very long for them to have an eye check at a retail shop because it takes a lot of time. You need to deal with them quite patiently, and sometimes they need a bit of time to adjust themselves to the setting. So I think one of the cases that we did is we invited them to our office, and then we actually created like a mini carnival for them. So a very exciting and a very warm place that they feel at ease, and then they kind of like can trust the environment to check their eyes. And even though I think that entire day we only checked about 15 people, but I mean, it was good enough because I think the parents were so thankful, and finally they could understand like why they were rubbing their eyes so hard, or why they were always squinting. Yeah, and I think that was enough for us to be able to just screen 15 people that one day.
Yeah, I think it's important, right? Even it's 15, even it's 5, I think it's important to find out whether they are having any eyesight problem. Because when you say that, right, that relates back to me, because my best friends, which is the son, my godson, he basically, they only discovered that he has eyesight problem when he was about 4 or 5 years old. Because he was like wondering, why is he like going so near to the TV? They thought it's like, because they know kids, right? They want to see that thing up close. They are so engrossed, right? They because back then when he was younger, he can't really speak. He can't really put things into words. But when he start to go to kindergarten or playgroup or nursery, right, they start to learn all this. And they themselves, the children, don't even know that they have problem with the eyesight. Because how would they know? Because both the parents don't really wear glasses. So they will not expect like their kid, right? Because back then, our time, right, then we don't really have all these digital gadgets and all that, iPad, iPhone and all that, and TV, right?
It's true.
So that's why for us, we cannot relate that their eyesight will get poor at a very young age. Even recently, my wife's nieces and nephew at the age of 3. And their degree is like more than 200 over. And they have to have special care and special eye drop and all that stuff.
Myopia control.
Which is very rare in our time, right? And as parents in the 80s until now, Gen X, Gen Y, we would not be able to relate to it. But I think your work is also very meaningful. But having said that, right, like we know that your foundation do a lot of work outside Singapore mostly. So maybe for those who are in Singapore may not have heard of your foundation. So maybe you can share the work that you guys are doing around.
Okay, so the foundation, our HQ is actually based in Singapore, but we actually help about 9 countries across Southeast Asia. Because Southeast Asia, our poverty levels is probably one of the highest in the world, and there are a lot of needs out there, and a lot of different civil issues that different countries are dealing with. So most of the time, we're actually, like you said, we're not in Singapore. We're actually flying around to the rural areas to help, set up clinics, charity clinics, and really giving glasses to people who need it the most. So and beneficiaries there usually are either refugees, migrants, or even like villagers living in the communities who do not have access and might not even be aware that they have poor vision. So I think one of the stories that I always share with people about why I'm still doing what I do, because sometimes it can get quite tiring flying here and there, right? But I guess I always remember these few stories that really hit you when you have been in your job for so long, was when I was in Myanmar. So nowadays it's a bit hard to go to Myanmar, but when we were there, we were privileged to be able to screen coffee farmers. Coffee farmers who were actually, did not have any access to vision care. They were living high up in the hill. We had to take a 10-hour bus ride to reach that part of Myanmar. And we were doing screening. Out of all the places I've ever done, that was like one of the most challenging places because it was on the rooftop of a coffee factory.
Rooftop?
Yeah, rooftop of a coffee factory that looks somewhat like this size of this room. And the different, and when you go for a screening, you have different stations, right? From registration all the way to getting your glasses at dispensing or going for the eye check. So all the rooms were actually split by sheets, tarp sheets that they were hanging from the ceiling. And then they were just splitting the rooms up. So it was a very small space.
So it just draped?
Yeah, just draped over. That's all that you see. You can see next door already, yeah. So it was a very small room and we were screening up to about 800 over people.
Wow, 800 over
800 over people.
In that rooftop?
In that rooftop for across maybe 2 to 3 days or so. So I saw this young boy coming in, about 16 years old, and then he was feeling his way around. And he looked so young, looked super healthy. And then when he walked, and then I was just talking to the optometrist. Optometrist say, wow, do you know his degree is actually minus 1600?
1600?
Yeah, and at the time, I was wearing glasses. I was like, mine was minus, blind, right? Minus 500. I was so shocked. And I was like, putting my hand in front of him, he had no reaction. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be life-changing for him, right, when he get glasses. So we didn't even have the glasses that were high enough, like the power that was high enough.
You never expect that.
Yeah, we only had minus 600. So we were like, oh my gosh, I hope this works.
So you guys have a
a custom. Yes, correct. So we have our own products that we bring down that has frames and lenses. So depending on your degree, you can actually pop the lenses into the frame immediately.
His is out of the
totally out. So we had to do it in the lab back in the capital city. Then he has to wait about maybe 2 weeks or so. But we just gave him a temporary pair of glasses that could kind of
see something.
See at least something, So I was super excited. I was like, okay, I'm going to be the one to go and help him put on the glasses. And I was like, oh, okay, I get ready, the room, everyone sit properly. Okay, we're going to capture this moment. And then we wore his glasses for him. And then I started rolling up the blinds to see, because we were at the top of a roof, the coffee factory, acres and acres of land. And I was like, what do you see? What do you see? And of course, he cannot understand English. So there was a translator there. And then he was looking, he wear his glasses. Then I said, okay, close your eyes first, wear your glasses, and now 1, 2, 3, open your eyes. And then after that, he looked. Then he kept really quiet. I was like, is there something wrong? He did not see. And we looked up. Then after that, I said, what do you see? What do you see? Then he was like, I see acres and acres of land. And I see the grass and the sky. I see everything. Then he looked at me. Then one tear came out of his eye. And I was like, wow, before I knew it, one tear came out of my eye. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, so simple, yet such, so much emotion filled with that kind of
I can feel you.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, okay, this is what I'm here for. This is what I, really, all this work just makes sense when you give glasses to people who really need it all their lives, but they had no clue that they needed it.
And it's life-changing for them, right?
Literally life-changing, instantly. Yeah, he wear that pair of glasses and then, wow, his whole life just changed in front of him. And because of that, he could now go to school.
Wow.
Yeah, before that, he wasn't able to see anything, so he just did work.
So you guys had tailored one for him?
Yeah, eventually he had his proper degree one, so we heard back. He's actually, studying, and I was very, very happy for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that is mind-blowing, right? I think At that point when you were there, you see it for yourself, then you understand why Yvonne and the rest of the colleagues so passionate and really do whatever it takes, right?
Yeah. So every time I remember that experience, I tell every single employee of EssilorLuxottica or volunteer, you must go for a clinic. You must be there. Like me just sharing with you the story, you cannot experience it. You need to see it for yourself. You need to interact with the people.
I see the impact that you're giving just by that little things that I'm wearing now.
Yeah, correct.
Which is
which is something so unimaginable for maybe Singaporeans because optical shops are at every corner.
We see they come and go, right?
Correct. It's everywhere. wear, and like, you know, we change specs like, wow, we just change clothes every quarter.
Or some of us own more than one glasses, right?
Precisely. I mean, I also own a lot. Yeah, it's like every quarter people change, and it's like so easy access, you know.
Taking it for granted,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, correct. To us, it's maybe like an accessory. It's not really something that's such a huge necessity.
Yeah. Because before you say that, right, although I know Yvonne for many years, right,
Yeah.
I've never known what she's doing. But I know that she's just for good, giving, non-profit, charity and all that stuff. But when you say that, I think with your story, right, it's even stronger.
Yeah.
I think it's also important for our audience to really understand what you guys are doing and why you guys are coming in, being a part with PlayPan.
Yeah.
So because when you were saying, right, a lot of work is being done outside Singapore. So what would you guys be looking at doing in Singapore, and you hope to do more?
So I think in Singapore, I mean, of course, because of COVID, we couldn't fly around much overseas. So we decided to kind of stay in Singapore and really connect with a lot more people outside of the optical industry. And I think because of that, we were able to create very collaborative and good partnerships with people that we really is not in our industry, and we decided to like kind of like come together and do something interesting. So I think a very interesting project that we always share with people was the migrant worker project. You know, during COVID period, we heard from our partners that were doing basic health screening inside the dormitories that a lot of them had actually presbyopia, which is actually quite surprising because a lot of them are quite young. But apparently during like the lockdown period, they use their phones a lot to connect back home. And a lot of them really struggle to see and really, you know, use their mobile phones. So they were asking for reading glasses actually. Then we were like, oh, but it's so hard for us to keep giving you reading glasses when we cannot actually go down and screen you guys. So why not, we thought of an idea, why not we actually put something that they can go and check their own eyes and get glasses for free at the same time. So we actually designed thing with a couple of partners to create a vending machine, a self-dispensing vending machine, which you can see right here at P Center downstairs, whereby they will undergo like a very simple test, and that will identify what kind of reading glasses they will need. So most of the time, they will just purchase reading glasses from outside, off the rack, you know, but without actually much knowledge of what kind of glasses or whether the degree is correct or not. So this vending machine actually teaches you in terms of like what degree will suit you, and then from there just dispense, and then you can get it for yourself. And I think if we were in a very normal climate, you know, without the pandemic, we wouldn't actually have thought of such a, you know, a random idea. Yeah, but then we were thinking like how it can be self-sustainable and migrant workers can just come and go at ease at their own convenience. Yeah, so we actually work with a design agency called Yellow, and also we work with this specialist diploma from Ngee Ann Poly. It's really these optometrists that came together and designed this entire like interesting innovative project, and we launched it back in 2021 actually. Yeah, so it was really very exciting, and when we actually launched it, it's like, oh, so proud. And then we see people
at home, right, in Singapore, right?
Correct. And then it's like such an iconic thing, and I think then we even had a launch ceremony with the then Minister for Manpower, Josephine Teo, that came down and graced the ceremony. Yeah, it was very exciting, and really just seeing your innovation come to life through design thinking and really working with all these different stakeholders. Yeah, I think that was really what made all the efforts worthwhile.
Yeah, I think that is really creative coming from a non-profit, because as we know, a lot of non-profit, they're just doing the same old thing again.
Yeah, which I think what Yvonne would call volunteer 1.0. Yeah, but I think at the time, really, the pandemic has challenged us to, you know, do things out of the box, or without the box even, you know, like really just create a vending machine that could actually self-dispense and give to people when we physically couldn't be there. Yeah, so I think it really challenged and pushed us and really break the norms of normal volunteering work, which I think was very good for us as a foundation.
Yeah, you don't have to be physically there, but you can contribute to something of a design, of a product.
Correct. And there's so much meaning as well in terms of, you know, giving back in that way. Yeah. So,
and now you can duplicate it for a lot of different other projects.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So I think these kind of innovations we can share with other people, and then from there, more can be impacted through this kind of like innovations. Yeah.
So good to hear a lot of like now I think the audience, even I myself, right, have to clearer maybe what your foundation does in Singapore, outside Singapore. So what is PlayPan to you? And also the involvement that you hope with your foundation, with PlayPan. What is PlayPan to you?
So I think for me, PlayPan is really a placemaker. They say placemaker for good, but it's really a placemaker, a very safe space that people can come together and just do good. You know, sometimes people do good, but then there is always a lot of hesitation in doing good. Like they won't earn much. You know, the resources are limited. Manpower is always, you know, nobody wants to do charity on a weekend. You know, so many negative things that really hinder people from doing good. But I think PlayPan has made it such a wonderful place. For example, Peace Center, they've taken the building and really packaged it in such a way that transform it by inviting community to come in and just feel at ease to do their own thing, you know, not hindered, not restricted, and communities, even like different communities coming together and interact with one another. And I don't think you really find such places in Singapore that can actually let you do that with such ease and such comfort, you know, really building like what we call in olden days a kampong, right? Yeah, a kampong, you say hi to everybody, you know everybody, and then even though you guys might not be selling the same thing, but y'all really care for each other, you're working towards the same goal, which is really to bring good to the community. And I think PlayPan has really done it right this time for being a placemaker of good and bring Peace Center to life. Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, it's really a social movement. It's not really the venue, you know, it can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be Peace Center. But I think it's really that social movement of like people believing why it's important to come together to do good. And when more people come together, you can do well as well. Yeah, so I think beyond Peace Center, I'm sure PlayPan will go to greater heights because of this vision of being that placemaker, that foundation for everyone to do good together and influence more people to come together.
Wow. I think you're very much influenced by Yvonne. Because whatever you say is what Yvonne will be saying.
Yeah, but I think also spending so much time with her has also honed my own belief in terms of how, we, in this world that we live in, there's so many bad things, or you know, in the news every day, sometimes it's so depressing to look at the news, right? Like nowadays, all the channels that I sign up for, I just mute all of them because it's just so sad to see what the world is coming towards. But actually, we are always reminded that sometimes just one person doing good in a little way can actually change another person's life so much. And by having that movement and this you know, everyone just coming together to wanting the same thing in terms of creating better good in the world, I think it will really change the world bit by bit. And I think that is the world that we want to live in today. And I think finding someone like Yvonne who has really same beliefs in what I believe in is really very nice, you know, to be able to be aligned on so many levels.
A lot of like-minded.
Yeah, correct. And then it's like people understand what you're doing, why you're doing it. They don't question, they don't like think like very skeptical, like, are you sure or not? You know, like, wow, the world is jialat, man, you know, yeah. But then when everyone go into this social movement and believe in it together, I think really in small ways, you know how ripple effects work? It can become a huge wave at the end of the day, and a wave of good lah.
Yeah, I strongly believe that what you say, right? Because imagine back in September or either August, right? This place is not like that. Yeah, then Yvonne showed me. I was like, okay, it's still very raw. You still got a nostalgic.
Nobody wants to go into.
Correct.
Nobody wants to go into the toilet. Yeah, but now it's like everything is transformed, and I think it's because of a few good people that came in with a very strong belief that, you know, bit by bit things can happen and things can change as long as, you know, there's a will, there's a way, right? Yeah, but if there's so many wills, there will definitely be an ultimate way, you know. Yeah, so I think really kudos to everyone who persevered through. Yeah, and I think, what we see today, we would have never seen it if not for these few people who believe in it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Good to hear from you and all that about like where is PlayPan going moving forward, because you say that PlayPan is not just a place, right? Not a space. It can continue because it's a movement. It's a social movement that will continue. And now, as we have seen, right, the kampong spirit is around. Like if you want to need a screwdriver over here, and you can just ask, or in the group chat that the community is in. So there's people who's always giving. I think there's also a mutual understanding that we are here for something good. We should help each other. And PlayPan attracted the right like-minded people together, like you and me, and also the team behind this whole production. So having said that, do you have any message that you want to share with the audience? And you can look at this camera over here and just share your message with them.
Okay. So hi everyone. PlayPan is not only a placemaker for good, but it's a social movement. And I believe that as long as you do good, you will do well as well. So come and join us. PlayPan is not over yet. It's just getting started. See you.
Thanks a lot, Grace, for sharing that message. I think like what you mentioned, right? We are, although Peace Center may be gone, but I think the spirit for PlayPan, the kampong spirit, is what we need, especially in Singapore context, right?
Yes.
The kampong spirit, you need to bring it back, and PlayPan has just shown that the kampong spirit is there. Everybody's coming together to do good and then do well, or vice versa, do well and then do good.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot for your time, and really appreciate you sharing all about your foundation, about your association with PlayPan, and I really thank you for your time. And to the audience, we will see you guys in the next episode for more exciting and more inspiring stories from all these stakeholders of PlayPan. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys. Thanks, Grace.
Bye.
Thank you.
Do join us on our social media. It's available in LinkedIn, IG, TikTok. Now, thanks to our team here, now we will even have our own YouTube and Spotify. So please do join us and help spread the word on how we can come together, play for good, and reimagine giving.